Hey guys, and welcome back to another lesson. Today I'd like to talk about a question I get asked quite a bit, and that is, when you have two chords that share the same notes, what is it that actually differentiates between them? So I'll give you an example. Let's take the chord C6. So it has the notes C, E, G, and A. And in contrast, let's take A minor 7. So this has the notes A, C, E, and G. Now, these two chords have the exact same notes, but a different name. So how is it that, they share the same notes? Are they the same chord? So I'll give you a couple of answers to this question, and we'll sort of build in each step. The first simple answer is that when you're not given a context, it actually is the case that these two chords, these two groups of notes, can be interpreted as either a C6 or an A minor 7. So if someone just asks you, here are four notes, C, E, G, and A, which chord is this? Then one answer would be a C6, and another answer would be an A minor 7. Now, the next sort of level says, let's look at the bass of the four notes. So here the bass is a C, and here the bass is an A. So this is implied to be a C6, and this is implied to be an A minor 7, just because of the bass. And this also extends to if you're playing the bass with your left hand, or if you have a bass player that's playing with you. For example, let's take these four voicings. Now, because the lowest most note here is a C, your initial reaction might be, this is a C6. But if I, in addition, add the A bass in my left hand, it sounds and it becomes an A minor 7. So the second level of the answer is, look at the bass. Now, the real answer to this question is that it really the answer is that it depends on the context. And I'll give you a couple of examples of how the context changes the answer. So let's say I have a D minor 7 to an E minor 7 to an A minor 7. So played one after the other, we get something like this. Now, let's say I omit the bass in my left hand. I'm just going to play the right hand and have a listen. Just pay attention to kind of the sound that emerges. Now, even though I didn't really play the bass in the left hand, when you heard this, it was kind of obvious to you that this set of notes, E, G, A, and C, which could either be a C6 or an A minor 7, actually plays the role of an A minor 7, even though I didn't play the bass. And this is the case because your ear, or your brain, expects the D minor, which resolves to an E minor, to end up resolving to what it perceives to be the tonic, the root of the scale you're in, which would be an A minor, and therefore sort of the root would be an A minor 7. And this even worked when I used this particular inversion, which looks like a C6, right? Because it has a C, E, G, and A. But just because of the preceding chords, they strongly imply to the listener that you're in the scale of the key of A minor, and therefore the root, kind of the chord you resolve to, should be an A minor. Now, of course, it would be a stronger resolution if I actually played the A minor in the root form. But it actually also works if I play this particular inversion, which again, on its surface, looks like a C6. And this idea that the context determines the actual harmony is an extremely powerful one. And also a very deep one if you start thinking about things in terms of their context. Now, what do you mean by context? So many things can imply context. One of them, as we've seen, was the bass. You know, if I played, then the bass here implies the context of this progression. Another thing that can imply sort of the context would be the melody. So let's say I have let's play a 2-5-1 in the key of C major. So here's my 2, a D minor 7, to a G dominant 7, to a C major 7. Now I could be playing something like Now you see that when I play the melody in my right hand, I'm sort of tracing out something that looks like a D minor. So the melody in the right hand implies the context, gives this a bigger context than just the notes I'm playing in my left hand. And it tells the listener, hey, here's a D minor chord, even though, you know, I could be omitting some of the notes even. Let's say I only play the F, A, and C. Now this would look, if I didn't give you any context, like an F major. But if I were to play in the right hand, then suddenly it takes on a character of a D minor chord. So that's another thing, but really the most powerful thing that determines the context is the progression you're playing. So the chord that precedes, the chord that follows, and the tonic, the chord that you kind of want to resolve to at the end of the progression or the cadence. Again, let's go back to this 2-5-1 progression, and I'm going to play it slightly differently. So here I'm going to play a D minor 9, and here I'm going to play a G dominant 7, but I'm going to sharpen the 5 and flatten the 9. And for my C, I'm going to play this. So it's going to be a C major 9. It's still a 2-5-1 in the key of C major. Now I'm going to use these right hand voicings as left hand voicing. So I'm going to play, and you can already kind of get the feel that even though I'm actually not playing a D minor here, this is actually an F major 7. And I'm not playing the note D even in this particular voicing. And here I'm not really playing the G, I'm not playing the root. And here, when I'm playing the C major 9, I'm not again playing the root. This actually looks like an E minor 7, because an E minor 7 has E, G, B, and D. And you just move this D down an octave and this B down an octave, and you get this E minor 7. But still, because our brain kind of expects a 2-5-1 to resolve to the 1, it kind of fills in the details and becomes even stronger when you play the melody in the right hand. And you can see that even though I'm playing a melody that arpeggiates in E minor 7, again, your brain is fooled into feeling like this is a 2-5-1. So it understands that this is a 2 minor, this is a 5, like a dominant 5, and this is a major 1, even though I don't have any bass playing in the left hand. So it's all about the context. And this is why sort of understanding harmony and theory is kind of helpful to answering the question, which chord am I playing now? Not knowing anything else, this looks like an inversion of an F major 7. Just take an F major 7, first inversion, second inversion. But if you play it in context, it feels more like a 2 minor. And this becomes, again, more palatable if your right hand is playing something that, let's say, outlines this minor thing, or maybe your bass player is adding this bass in the left hand. This sort of thinking also naturally leads into the concept of rootless chord voicings. And again, if you look at this, I'm playing you feel like this is a D minor 9, even though I omit the bass in the left hand. So I don't have D as the bass. This still feels, in the context of the progression, as a D minor 9. And this still feels, even though it doesn't have the G, as a G dominant 7. Okay, it has a sharp 5 and a flat 9, but it's still a dominant 5th. It plays this particular functional role. And this still feels like a C major 9, even though, again, it doesn't have the bass. So I hope I've given you sort of a comprehensive answer to this question. And the answer is, of course, that it really depends on the context. And you can use this again for a lot of very interesting things. For example, let's say I have a 2 to a 5 to a 1. Now, because your brain expects this 5 to come in between the 2 and the 1, you can maybe start playing tricks on it. You can say, okay, I'm going to play something completely different. And, let's say, so what is this? Actually, I don't know. I just threw in a bunch of notes. But it's still, even though there's nothing behind, there's no theory behind this. It's not a legitimate voicing of a dominant 5th, like a G dominant 5th. Sorry, dominant 7. But it still kind of works. Okay, I won't actually use this in a song, but your brain, again, because of the context, fools itself almost, at least my brain. This almost sounds like a kind of a weird voicing or substitution for a G dominant 7 in this context. So that's it. That's kind of the answer I was looking to give you guys. I hope this clarified things for those of you who were having this sort of dilemma. And as usual, I hope you've learned something interesting, and I'll see you next time.